Welcome to Chamber Chat. I'm Cheryl Dietrich, President of the De Pere Area Chamber of Commerce in De Pere, Wisconsin. While the Chamber is a member-owned, member-directed organization chartered to improve a community by leading community and economic development, among other things, a chamber is also a business. In my life, before I became a chamber executive, I co-owned a construction company with my husband. I was and am a businesswoman. October is National Women's Small Business Month, and we take the opportunity to announce the De Pere Area Chamber of Commerce is launching a Women's Interest Council in 2011. Invitations are in transit to area women leaders in business and community roles to put the initial parameters of this exciting new focus into place. Today, my special guest will be telling you why women's interests are in everyone's interests. In 1997, women owned 10.1 million American businesses, up from 6.4 million in 1992, or 46%, which is up a third of all domestic firms. They employed more than 18 million people, up from 13 million just 5 years earlier, or 1 worker in 7, generating 2.3 trillion in revenues, up from just 1.6. Whether you are a women business owner or executive, or are lucky enough to be married to one, women in business are big business. The first woman elected to lead from the office of the Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, Barbara Lawton advances a bold agenda for economic development that moves from workforce and diversity issues to the green and creative economies. Lawton earned national and international recognition for her groundbreaking economic development initiative, Wisconsin Women Equals Prosperity. Intentional weaving back and forth from state to national and global arenas moves her initiatives from small-town Wisconsin to inform work with Oxfam America's Sisters of the Planet, the Nobel Women's Initiative, and former Ireland President Mary Robinson's Women Leaders Intercultural Forum. She serves on the advisory board for Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government Public Diplomacy Collaborative. She currently leads a State and Defense Department work group developing a section for the U.S. Summit and Initiative on Global Citizen Diplomacy in Washington, D.C. in November. And I'm very, very proud to welcome this wonderful woman as my guest today. Barbara, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
We're really going to miss you down in Madison.
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait to know what you do next.
I can't wait either.
Well, and we'll be finding out in January, February, maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
I want to ask you first a couple of questions. There's so much information out there on women in small business, and I think I know as a woman business owner and as a woman business leader, we just operate differently than men. And I remember several years ago when you first launched Wisconsin Women Equals Prosperity, I was so excited. Where is that initiative now, and where do you see it going?
Well, I hope that I see it going with strong leadership forward. Right now, it moved out of my office, the management of our regional action teams, which there are still active regional action teams across the state, and the Wisconsin Women's Council, which is a state agency supporting this issue, is in charge of managing it. And they also are collecting data for us across the state as well. And as you know, when we listen to the numbers about women-owned businesses and women-led businesses, what doesn't get measured never gets done. So it's important that we keep track and keep understanding where we are so we can chart progress and understand where we're going. So the Women's Council will continue to lead that, but what I hope is that I have spawned deep attention to understanding the great public value of having women participating in the economy at a much higher level, whether it be as executives or as business owners. So public policy that supports that higher level participation is, to me, absolutely crucial if Wisconsin's going to have a resilient and a sustainable economy.
Exactly. There is so much that's different about men and women if we set aside the genders and we set aside all those things we already know. What do you think is most different in the women you work with between women business and men-led business?
Well, I think what is most unique and something we have to understand is the path that women take to owning businesses. Women have more sharply defined seasons of our lives, because we're the reproductive force for society and we're the only ones who can have children. and we tend to be the primary caretakers for the elderly. So women have different pressures on their lives, and many women are able to manage those and continue to move in a corporate world. Other women are taking on and off ramps in that work life, and what we've found is that starting their own business and leading a business tends to be a very smart on-ramp. And from that, we see our economy grow and jobs created. So what we need to look at from my perspective in the state government is how do we improve women's access to capital? This is probably the biggest barrier to women-led business, both to the creation and to their growth, because there's still lingering habits of discrimination when it comes to lending. And part of that is reflected in the composition of the decision makers in the financial industry, whether we're talking about at the national level or at the state level. If you look at the highest level people in the financial industry, in banks, top level executives, on the board of directors, the percentage of those that are women is well under 20%, and in some cases under 10%.